Howdy everybody, and welcome to the very first video on the Sports Guy Malichi Channel. Today we're going to be talking about some baseball, baby. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to be talking specifically about 5 storylines that I think you should pay attention to in the 2025 season. I'm going to be gearing this video a little bit more towards a casual fan that doesn't necessarily watch baseball, because I understand that most of the people watching this video aren't necessarily going to be baseball fans, but probably people that saw that I'm posting it and are like, hey, Malachi's doing something. Let me check it out. And if that's you, I appreciate you. And you should send me a text or a DM or something and let me know what you thought, because that would just make my day. Also, if you don't watch baseball and you end up watching baseball because of any of the things I talked about today, I'm going to count that as a win. So please let me know if any of these things got you interested in baseball for the 2025 season. I think baseball is very underrated. I always hear about how in the summer there's no sports going on because NBA's done and NFL hasn't started yet. And what I say to them is, open your goddamn eyes. The greatest game on earth is being played right in front of you. There's games on every goddamn night. It doesn't matter. When you come home, it doesn't matter if it's Monday, it doesn't matter if it's Friday, it doesn't matter if it's goddamn Wednesday. If you're coming home, there's a baseball game on that night during the summer. And I love it because I work a lot and I don't always have the same days off. So just knowing that there's always going to be a game on for me to watch, no matter what day I have off, I just love it so much. I wish other sports could take notes. Also want to make this clear that this is going to be a sports channel, not just a baseball channel. But with baseball season right around the corner and baseball being my favorite sport, I felt like there was no better sport to talk about today than baseball for my very first video. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. Number 1 storyline to watch in the 2025 season, I'm going to get the most obvious one out of the way here. Shohei Ohtani is pitching again. He just had the most productive season we've ever seen from a designated hitter, putting up the 50-50 season, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. He won an MVP and he wasn't even pitching. He wasn't even half of what makes him so great. The Dodgers rotation is loaded too, so he's going to have all the time in the world to come back. They really don't even need him to pitch. He's going to pitch because they pay him to pitch, and he's damn good at it, but they don't even need him because of how loaded their rotation is. So all the time in the world that he needs to feel like himself again, he's going to have. He doesn't need to rush back because, now they might be falling out of contention for the division. No, they don't have to worry about that. They got the best fucking roster in baseball. So screw them, all right? But they have a lot of players that I really like, and he's one of them. In 2023, before he got Tommy John surgery and had to get shut down, he had a 3.14 ERA. Shout out to Pi. In 23 starts, 123 innings pitched, 167 strikeouts, and 55 walks. And he also hit 44 home runs, so that's kind of crazy. In 2022, probably his best season on the mound. He had a 2.33 ERA and 38 starts, 166 innings pitched, 219 dudes struck out and only 44 walks, and he hit 34 home runs. So, I mean, he doesn't have to hit 50-50 again. If he can have somewhat similar numbers at the plate and do somewhat similar to those numbers I just read you, he's just going to keep writing his chapter in the baseball history books. And I wish he was doing it in a different uniform because fuck the Dodgers, but I'm still happy that I'm here to watch it. And so, got to appreciate greatness. That's the thing. Got to appreciate greatness, man. Doesn't matter if the greatness is kicking the shit out of you. You got to appreciate it. Number 2 storyline. Juan Soto just signed the biggest contract in sports history. 15 years, $765 million with my New York Metropolitans. It's going to be a lot to live up to. Let me explain a little bit on how he got that money. I will say, if you're interested in learning more about how a $765 million contract for playing a game even happens. Baseball Doesn't Exist has a great video on this topic. He dives just way more into detail than what I'm about to do, and it's a very good watch. He really has a lot of great baseball content. So if you are a baseball fan and you are looking for more content, watch my videos first and then watch his. Got it? Okay. So Soto came into the league at 19. A little story from when he was in the minors. He was sleeping on a coach's couch, and they told him they would find him a place to stay permanently here shortly. And he said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be here very long. And he was right, because he burst onto the scene in 2019. Won a gosh dang World Series in 2019 with the Washington Nationals, and nobody thought they were going to be able to do it. That's the year after Bryce Harper left to go to Philly. Literally the next year, which is just unfortunate for him. And Soto was a huge piece of that playoff run that the Nationals went on. Huge. He did not look like a 19-year-old in that World Series, and a lot of baseball people fell in love with him right then, just because of the confidence and the fearlessness from a 19-year-old on the biggest stage in baseball, going up against Hall of Fame pitchers too. Like, he was amazing. After a couple years in Washington, the owners were looking to sell the team, and they saw the writing on the wall that they were going to have to give this kid a huge contract. So instead of signing him to that big deal, they opted to trade him for prospects, because it's easier to sell a team with a bunch of cheap prospects that could turn into something great with a bunch of flexibility with your salaries, rather than a team that already has a huge chunk of money allotted to one player. Especially since usually once a new regime takes over a team, they want to put their stamp on it. So having that cap flexibility and everything is a lot more appealing to somebody that is just going to be buying a team. So he's traded to San Diego. They gave up a boatload of prospects to get him. Now, a lot of people think that because the owner of the Padres at the time had recently found out that an illness that he was dealing with was going to be terminal. So some people think that trade for Soto was like a way to kind of go all in and on winning a World Series before he passed. And it started out great, but unfortunately the owner passed without a World Series. And once the new ownership group took over, they were kind of looking to strip the team down and kind of regain some of the losses that they from trading Soto in their farm system. And so they trade Soto to the Yankees with 1 year of team control left. Now let me explain what I just said with team control. In MLB, you have 6 years of what is called team control, 6 years of MLB service time, where you cannot sign with another team in free agency. The only way you can move teams is being traded. And once you are traded, whatever amount of time that is left just transfers to that new team. So when the Padres traded him to the Yankees, he had 1 year of team control left, meaning that the Yankees were going to have to re-sign him that offseason. With the Yankees, he has another amazing season and leads them to a World Series. They don't win the World Series this time, but if we take a step back, we have a guy who's turning 26, who has already has a American League pennant and a National League pennant, has one of the best on-base percentages in baseball since he's joined the league, has one of the most feared bats in baseball, and has shown you on multiple occasions that when the lights are brightest, this man does not fear anything and can come through when you need him most. He's 26. Now, most baseball players hit their prime around 29, 30. It's a late bloomer sport. The fact that he already has all of this going for him at this young, and we're also going to pair this with the fact that the Mets are owned by Steve Cohen, who is the richest owner in baseball, fifth richest owner in sports, and said publicly before the season started, or before the offseason started, I will not let money be the reason I do not sign Juan Soto. That sounds like a recipe for a record-breaking contract, if you ask me. But what do I know? Another reason why this is going to be such a fun storyline to watch is because the Mets are a pretty damn good baseball team. Last season was supposed to be a punt year because in 2023, they traded Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, guys that were on huge contracts and had to eat a bunch of that money. So there's a lot of money on the books from players that weren't even on the roster anymore. 2024 was supposed to be a year for them to kind of just, not really compete, but we're going to get that money off the books and then swing big in 2025, go after a guy like Soto. But 2024 happened, and apparently the Mets didn't get the memo, the players, because they made the NLCS, and after July 1st had the best record in baseball. So it was this is a very good team that he's joining, and a team that has a great young guys like Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez, Luis Angel Acuna. There's even guys like Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio that are in that farm system that could end up being something great. Brandon Sproat too, who's has all the potential in the world, and they also have a great core now in Francisco Lindor, a guy who was a back injury in September away from a 30-30 season while playing Gold Glove shortstop. And Pete Alonso, who's about on pace to break the record for most home runs in franchise history. Brandon Nimmo, who has been around forever and is a just solid, just good at everything. So yeah, this is a good Mets team that's poised to be good now, poised to be good in the future. And the fact that, that $765 million is going to hover over Soto, the second, if he has a bad couple weeks, oh my God, biggest overpay in history, it's going to be a lot. Plus, they're in New York, so they're going to be on national TV a lot. That's just the way the news goes. So it's not going to be that hard to watch Mets games. And I'm telling you right now, you should do it. Gosh darn it. Number 3, Paul Skeens, National League Rookie of the Year, is going to be playing in his first full MLB season. Last season in 23 starts, he put up a 1.96 ERA. Damn! 133 innings pitched, 170 strikeouts, only 32 walks. Pretty darn impressive. The Pirates were pretty careful with him last year as far as pitch count goes, which makes sense. They weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. You don't want a guy that throws as hard as him and as young as him. And you just don't want to overwork him. But they should let him loose a bit more this year, and I hope so. And I would not be surprised to see a no-hitter out of him this year. That's how dang good he is. There's a couple times last year where it kind of looked like maybe he had a chance, but they pulled him. They pulled him because of pitch count. The Pirates as a team probably aren't going to be very good, but every fifth day they're going to be must-see TV because he's going to be on the bump, especially if they're going up against Phillies, Braves, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, one of these teams with one of the premier lineups. It's going to be fun to watch. Number 4, speaking of the Braves, they're back, baby. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider are coming back. That's 2023 National League MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. to you, sir, after his historic 40-70 season. And Cy Young candidate from 2023. He finished 4th in Cy Young voting for the National League. He's returning from Tommy John surgery. They're not going to be back right away, but around May they should be, and it's going to add a very interesting layer to this National League East pennant race, and I think a lot of people are forgetting about the Braves. They still managed to squeak into the playoffs last year without them, and so I don't understand how the fact that they're adding these two pieces back to this roster isn't being talked about. I know they lost Fried, but they made the playoffs without Strider, and guess what? Strider's back. So, it's kind of like, Acuna, 2023, splits 333, on-base percentage of 416, slug 596, 1,012 OPS, 106 RBIs, 80 walks, 84 strikeouts, and of course the 40-70 season. And Strider in 2023 had a 3.86 ERA, 186 innings pitched, 281 strikeouts, 55 walks, 13 and a half strikeouts per 9. That's really good. Like I said, they're not going to be back immediately, but when they do, look out. Last but certainly not least, the Sacramento A's. Formerly Oakland Athletics are going to be going through a bit of a transitional phase for the next 3 years as their stadium in Vegas is being built. So, yeah, they're going to be playing their games in a minor league park in Sacramento. And they also signed the richest deal in their team's history this offseason. Shout out to Luis Severino. And the timing of it all is just so weird. I don't get it. They say they want to win over their, fans in Vegas by competing now in Sacramento. And I mean, they already sold out all of their Northern California fan base anyway. So, shit, you got to build it up somewhere. Capacity for the stadium is only 14,000, which the average for MLB stadiums is around like 40 to 60. So, on the low end, for sure. I don't think they're going to have a problem with, that not being enough seats. Don't think many people are going to want to be going to A's games in Northern California anymore. They've had enough of the fishman's bullshit. But I am interested to see how the players react to it. I'm sure, the amenities and stuff aren't going to be the same as they are at the 29 other ballparks. I'm sure there's also, there's some stipulations that I'm sure they have to meet in order to host MLB games, but still should be interesting, or it's going to be a nothing story, and this is just nothing, but I think it'll be interesting to watch. The dimensions are very similar to Oakland Coliseum. I was curious about that, but the outfield fences are within 5 feet of each other, in left, center, and right. But obviously, the massive foul ground that Oakland Coliseum was known for is not going to be there anymore. So maybe the home team's offense sees a marginal increase. But we'll see, man. I just don't get the thought process here with this. Shout out to Sevy, but I don't understand why they're trying to compete now. Why are you trying to sign guys now? Why now while you're playing in a AAA stadium? It doesn't make sense, but it should be a shit show, and shit shows are fun to watch from afar. So tune into Sacramento A's games this season just to watch them fucking burn. It should be fun. Thank you all for tuning into this video. Expect more videos to be coming out shortly as the MLB season progresses and NBA playoffs begin and NHL playoffs begin. Shit, after that Four Nations face-off, I got me feeling like I might be getting into some hockey. So, might be talking about it a little bit on this channel. Definitely going to be talking about, more baseball. Definitely going to be talking about basketball. Definitely going to talk about some football, So, just be on the lookout for your boy to be talking about some stuff, some things, and share this video with a friend, with a frog, and with a foe, and send me proof. Please.